Jasmine Crockett didn't see this coming. Take a look.
Mr. Chairman, and to be clear, I'm not going to ask any questions of this witness because this witness has revealed that she has no intentions of answering questions.
I find it interesting that she didn't even want to try, Congresswoman Crockett, to ask any questions because she certainly did not condemn her leader, Hakeem Jeffries, for taking money from Jeffrey Epstein after Epstein was convicted.
During a House hearing, Crockett was ruthlessly attacking Bondi, even calling her the worst attorney general, until Pam fired back with a line so cold that it sent her walking out in anger. And today, we're telling you all about it. So if you believe truth isn't partisan, hit the subscribe button. Let's jump right into it.
The gentlelady from Texas is recognized.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And to be clear, I'm not going to ask any questions of this witness because this witness has revealed that she has no intentions of answering questions. But my Democratic colleagues have been attacked this entire committee hearing. They have been lied on. And frankly, the American people weren't looking for that. They were looking for answers about the corruption that they see coming from this administration. In the written testimony of this witness, of this particular witness, she stated that when she took office, she had two main goals. The first was to end the weaponization of justice, and second, to return the department to its core mission. Not only have you lied about both, you've intentionally done the exact opposite. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting journalists than you are prosecuting pedophiles and creeps. In fact, your boss, the President of the United States, stated that this administration, quote, took the freedom of speech away. And at your direction, DOJ has arrested Don Lemon and Georgia Fort.
Now, it's beyond me how anyone could frame Don Lemon's situation as a free speech issue. He had literally started his own stream with the following words, quote, "This is an operation that is secret. I can't tell you what is going to happen, but you're going to watch it live unfold here." He went on to disrupt people's freedom of worship, and when the consequences followed, he flipped the script and played the victim to drive more views. For someone like Jasmine, who calls herself, quote, "the daughter of a preacher," that should be worrying. We've seen thousands protest the administration, from no kings to hands off, and most of them went off without many major issues. So free speech seems alive and well, if you ask me. Jasmine then switched gears and went on to some Epstein-related claims, saying this.
But let's circle back to you protecting pedophiles and creeps, because I want to talk about the president and his possible involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't know what the president might have done with Jeffrey Epstein, but unlike this administration, I believe that facts matter. So let's talk about the facts. Fact number one, Donald Trump is one of the most named people in the Epstein files. At least 5,000 files contains more than 38,000 references to Trump, his wife, or Mar-a-Lago. Fact number two, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell made young girls available to Trump on multiple occasions. For example, according to this file, Ghislaine Maxwell presented a young girl to President Trump who spent more than 20 minutes apparently flirting with her. Here's another example. This shows notes from FBI investigators that describe Jeffrey Epstein transporting a victim to Mar-a-Lago to meet with President Trump, where he bragged to Trump that, quote, "this is a good one." Now, I'm not saying that the president is a pedophile, but there is a lot of evidence in these files that suggests that he's very close friends with a lot of men who are pedophiles.
Look, the way the administration handled the Epstein case was an absolute mess. There should be no doubt about that. But isn't it interesting how the conversation around it suddenly went quiet? Democrats acted like it was a top priority, even though they had control of the files before Trump took office. And during that time, barely anyone pushed the issue, aside from a handful of voices who actually deserved credit for doing so. But the moment he became politically useful, the entire party jumped on the bandwagon to score some cheap points. And instead of sticking to the facts, Jasmine kept going off on tangents, twisting multiple events just to fit her narrative. Now, before we play that, we have a quick message from today's sponsor. America just made a $2.7 billion move, and it's all about uranium. On January 5th, 2026, the U.S. Department of Energy allocated $2.7 billion to revive domestic uranium enrichment. That's more than routine funding. It marks a strategic shift. The U.S. consumes over 50 million pounds of uranium each year, yet produces under 1 million pounds domestically. At the same time, Russia holds a significant share of global enrichment capacity, and Greenland has shut down uranium mining. The message from Washington is clear. Energy independence now stands at the center of national security, and the supply chain needs to return home. This is where Atomic Minerals enters the picture, trading at an atom on the TSX venture and OTC under ATMMF. Is a team with real history. Members of leadership were involved in the discovery and subsequent $654 million sale of the Rough Rider deposit to Rio Tinto. The question is simple. Can they repeat that success? Atomic controls 4 fully owned uranium projects in the Colorado Plateau, an area that has produced more than 597 million pounds historically. Its flagship, South Lisbon Valley, eastern Utah, lies within a district that has already generated 80 million pounds. The foundation is solid, and the company stands to benefit from policy momentum in Washington. I'll leave you with this. This leadership team once delivered a $654 million exit. Today, the valuation is a fraction of that, while uranium prices push towards triple digits. So, if you want the full story, check out the link in the description. And a special thanks to Atomic Minerals for making today's video possible.
What's crazy about all of this is just that this is a big cover-up. And this administration is engaged in it. In fact, this administration is complicit. But there are numerous others, like how the DOJ seized voter data from Fulton County in an attempt to steal the 2026 midterm elections, or how federal agents have Tom Homan on tape accepting a bribe and your agency killed the investigation, or how your agency is ready to give the president a $230 million payday, which is unconstitutional. The Constitution is clear. The president shall not receive any payment except his salary while in office. The fact of the matter is that you will be remembered as one of the worst attorney generals in history, an attorney general who has prioritized obstruction over justice, corruption over the law, fealty to the president over loyalty to the Constitution. And Mr. Chairman, I will yield.
There's one mischaracterization after another in what she laid out. Take the example of Trump seeking $230 million in damages for the investigations he faced. That move wasn't exactly popular. Even Republican lawmakers pushed back, warning it could open the door to serious conflicts of interest. At the same time, there's an important distinction here. When cases don't lead to convictions, the legal system does allow individuals to seek compensation if they believe they were wronged. So for Jasmine to open up by condemning lawfare, then ignore the principles, shows a clear lack of consistency. But enough talking about her, because after sitting through several minutes of attacks from Crockett, Pam finally responded. And this is where we get to the real fireworks.
Mr. Schmidt is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and General Bondi, thanks for being here. Did you have anything you wanted to say before we talk?
I do. Thank you, Congressman. Thank you, my friend, for many years. I find it interesting that she didn't even want to try, Congresswoman Crockett, to ask any questions, because she certainly did not condemn her leader, Hakeem Jeffries, for taking money from Jeffrey Epstein after Epstein was convicted. And I will be brief to give you your time, Congressman. This is what she didn't want to talk about. Texas, from Cuba, convicted, homicide, arson, weapon offense.
Convicted. So what we talking about? Convict
Texas,
some of these perpetrators
homicide.
that rape these women that are sitting behind you, that you refuse to even acknowledge they are here.
Time belongs to the gentleman from Kansas.
Mr. Chairman, could I have a few seconds back
bet,
to make
you
up
bet.
for the yelling? Thank you.
Texas, convicted for kidnapping, rape. Khalid Khan from Afghanistan. That's why they want to talk about Epstein and not what's happening in their own states.
Okay, here's an interesting part. Most of the coverage around this exchange focused almost entirely on Jasmine's tirade, while barely mentioning Bondi's response. That alone tells you where media priorities are. Now, is Pam the greatest attorney general who's ever lived? Not even close. There's plenty to criticize in her performance, but the bare minimum should be fair coverage. And that clearly isn't happening here. Then there's the Epstein angle. It's honestly embarrassing how this case has turned into a cheap political talking point, with both sides pointing fingers, throwing accusations back and forth, yet nothing meaningful is being done. No serious push for deeper investigations, no real effort to hold people accountable. Other countries have done it, why can't we? It goes to show how the uniparty is real. And they'd rather endlessly talk when their elite buddies are implicated than deliver real results.